Here we go.
Yes, sir. All righty.
What up, what up, what up?
What's Gucci, people? If you're listening to this, it's probably Monday, the 11th of October. We are recording this right now during the lightning delay of Sunday Night Football, Chiefs versus Bills.
Yeah.
We were going to wait until after the game, but we were like, okay, how long is this delay going to go? We might as well just go ahead and record the podcast.
It's just easier.
But Aki, you and I have been up because there was a Formula One race that
Correct.
started at midnight our time.
11.
It is now.
It was at 11 our time, actually.
You're right. It was.
Mm-hmm.
It is now 2 p.m. and we didn't sleep the day before. So
no,
I have no idea what's going to be in this podcast, and I just want to apologize.
It's exhausting.
In advance.
Mondays are exhausting, but I get it. That's what people want.
Get it?
That's what people want to hear and want to see. So like we're doing it.
Oh, we want.
We're doing
That's
it for
what
the cause, you know?
Just remember the days when we didn't have football. I'd always prefer this.
Yeah, honestly.
All right. We don't know what's going to happen in the second half of this Chiefs-Bills game. Chiefs look like they're struggling at the moment, especially defensively. That could change.
Yes.
Let's talk about the week. Do we want to quickly talk about some injuries that potentially are going to affect fantasy? Saquon is probably the biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just wrap all these injuries up real quickly, as quickly as we can. He's expected to miss 1 to 2 weeks. Is that correct?
Yeah, 1 to 2 weeks with a low ankle sprain, which seems good so far. If you are a Saquon owner, it's not going to look like. It doesn't look like a long-term injury.
Yeah, it's best case scenario. To be honest,
absolutely.
Kenny Galladay hyperextended his knee in the first quarter. I mean, what do you do? Yeah. Like, I just don't really know what to say at that point.
Can't really do much.
Danny Dimes.
Daniel Jones with a concussion. He didn't return on Sunday. He'll go through the whole concussion protocol.
Kadarius Toney punched someone. Got kicked out of the game after an amazing game. Is there any other significant injuries that I'm potentially missing? I can't think of
Juju
any
Smith
off the top of my head.
Went out with a shoulder injury. We'll see how he kind of goes throughout the week. But that's about it. That's all I can think of. Curtis Samuel went out as well. I think he was out, if I'm not mistaken. But that's about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think Curtis Samuel left. I just don't think they didn't trust him with a big snap share, unfortunately. Okay. I'll have to double check that. Monday Night Football is tomorrow, right? We got the Ravens and the Colts.
Colts at Ravens tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So
it's Colts at Ravens?
Yeah. At the bank.
Okay. At the bank, the 3-1 Ravens at the 1-3 Colts. Do the Colts have a chance to win this game? It feels like it's the Ravens at home.
Yeah, I think it's the Ravens. I think it's the Ravens at home. Lamar Jackson, Rashad Bateman, I think is going to be playing this game for the first time. I would love to see him, Hollywood Brown. We'll see what happens.
I would love to see Rashad Bateman play. I mean, that's the one player on this team I'm really waiting to see because I think he's got crazy upside. Rashad Bateman, one of our favorite players that we scouted. Shout out to HBO.
Shout out to HBO.
Choosing the Colts 1-3, probably going to be 1-4.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
They couldn't have chose a team that was a little bit more secure. To be fair, no one saw the Colts being this bad now.
Way.
So,
no
way. All right, guys. If you don't know, we are recording this podcast, but we're also doing it live on YouTube. So if you ever want to watch this podcast live, youtube.com/fantasylandfootball, you can actually watch the podcast live with us. If there's anyone in the chat, just want you to know we see you. We will answer your questions at the end of this podcast. So drop a question. We'll answer it. We'll do a quick Q&A at the end. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the cash and trash from this week. All the good, all the bad. Let's start with the quarterback position. Justin Herbert.
Wow. What a day.
Absolute superstar Justin Herbert, the 4-1 Chargers. Shout out to you, Badaki. You predicted this team to go 13-4 in the preseason, and right now that's looking like a very smart call.
Yeah, this team is very talented. Justin Herbert, I believe he's going to continue. Obviously, he had a fantastic game. This was a shootout of a game. They were going back and forth, scoring back and forth. Justin Herbert just continued to score touchdowns. rushed for a touchdown, and he threw 4 touchdowns. I think he had nearly
5
400
total, almost 400 passing yards.
It's absolutely crazy. He played a great game. If you had Justin Herbert in fantasy, you are buzzing because I'm pretty sure he put up more than 50 fantasy points depending on your league format. Settings. Yeah.
Justin Herbert was fantastic, and you start him. Doesn't matter what team it is. You start him. This is going to continue. I mean, not the 50 bombs, but the great play. Tom Brady, 5 touchdowns. On track, baby. On track for my 50 touchdown prediction. This isn't a surprise. Josh Allen already is the 3rd best quarterback, and it's still halftime of the Kansas City game. Who knows where he could end up finishing. Jameis Winston. Classic. All it took was playing the Washington football defense. My Washington football defense.
Give up the most fantasy points to quarterbacks, and that was Jameis Winston today. Quarterback 4 on the week. I mean,
oh my God.
4 touchdowns.
We were so bad. I don't even think Jameis was good. I think Washington's defense was just that bad. Genuinely. Like the Hail Mary catch at the end of the first half. None of our cornerbacks decided to try and bat that down. We left Callaway wide open. I mean, we were terrible. Yeah, we were god awful. Deontay Harris wide open down the field. I'm not starting Jameis Winston going forward. I'm not excited about Jameis Winston going forward. I just think he played a really terrible defense, unfortunately. Yeah, if you can, if anyone wants him. Yeah. Davis Mills, that was the most surprising quarterback play this week, in my opinion. Davis Mills. And just the fact that this Texans team wrecked Bill Belichick, honestly. Like, I know the Patriots won, but look, Bill Belichick got his ass whooped.
This team is no joke.
By Davis Mills.
Yeah, this team is no joke. There's a lot of talent in this team. This defense is good. The offense knows how to move the ball. I mean, come on. Davis Mills, what's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the week? A rookie guy.
Yeah, quarterback 5 on the week. I mean, let's not get carried away, right? I mean, it was a good game. There's a lot of upside for Davis Mills, especially in dynasty leagues. But it was 1 week. He threw 4 interceptions last week. Let's not forget.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, and also the Texans got shut out by the Bills. Baker Mayfield had a nice game. Finishes the quarterback 6 so far. Jalen Hurts, quarterback 7. You know what's so frustrating? If you watch this game, I personally think Jalen Hurts looked like horse shit. But if you played against him, he still finishes as a top 10 quarterback because of the rushing upside. 2 rushing touchdowns on the day.
Exactly.
Played terrible, but there's always that upside for him every week.
This game
because of the floor.
Yeah, this game was a little bit boring. This is a game I was watching just because of Sam Darnold. We'll get to him soon. Yeah, I get what you're saying, how it's boring, but like even with him doing nothing, he's still, breaking 20+ points. So you got to be happy with that if you have Jalen.
Definitely. I mean, for fantasy, he's been a fantastic option, but I still am not convinced that he's a good quarterback in the NFL. I don't think he is. There's a lot of growth he needs to do still. Speaking of Sam Darnold, let's talk about the trash performances of the week at the quarterback position.
Yeah, he absolutely let me down this week. Sam Darnold was a guy that I either picked up and streamed or I already had him on my team and was just starting. He didn't really do much today. He was terrible. This Eagles defense got to him a lot today.
Weird, because they were terrible against Kansas City. And I mean, versus the Panthers, they looked much better. They need CMC. They need CMC on this team to be a playoff team.
They definitely do need CMC. I think it was.
Is it? Do you feel like Sam is probably matchup based?
No,
if you can stream him,
I'm happy to start Sam week in and week out going into each week. I mean, they play Miami, then the Giants, Atlanta. I mean, you want to start him in those games. I think
you do.
I think it's good, in my personal opinion. He's been fantastic. I would
still consider him streaming material. I mean, if he's your starter, you're not upset that he's your starter going forward.
Right.
There will be better games, but I still consider him streaming material. He's not solidified top 12 every week, in my opinion. Okay. Derek Carr, I think we expected this against the Bears. Not a very good game. I don't think that surprised us.
Yeah, it wasn't a good game. Disappointing. I think another guy was also disappointing was Daniel Jones. Obviously, he got hurt, but I know he was the stream.
Totally.
This week, he was a start of the week in our for us. No, that was Kenny G. Sorry, that was Kenny G.
Yeah, that did not work.
And that didn't work out, unfortunately, because he also went out injured. So
hyperextended his knee. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I didn't know if you were going to continue there.
I mean, once again, no sleep.
Running on literally 0 hours of sleep. All right, let's talk about the running back position. By the way, Joe Burrow, good gritty game.
Hey.
Something's up with his throat. Apparently, got poked in the throat.
A throat contusion. That's what it said.
It sounds
weird.
Like something I don't want. All right, Justin Herbert was the number 1 quarterback on the week. Guess who was the number 1 running back on the week? Well, it's only halftime of Kansas City Bills, so it could be Zach Moss.
It could be Zach Moss.
We don't know by the time you're hearing this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Austin Eckler, Justin Herbert's teammate. That's right. It's a 1-1. First quarterback, first running back, Austin Eckler, bona fide superstar. I love Austin Eckler. He's been a my guy. I feel there's, things that we missed on this year. There's things that we hit on. I smash hit on Austin Eckler, I feel, if I'm just going to go ahead and boost my own ego right now.
Yeah, no, Austin Eckler, he's having a fantastic year so far. Finishing RB1, 17 carries, and he had, 3 total touchdowns. A touchdown that he didn't even want to score. He didn't want to go into the end zone.
I know. I was frustrated the play before because he stopped at the 1. I was like, bro. And then thank God the Cleveland defense just was like, get the hell in.
Pushed him in.
You start Eckler every week. Absolute star. Myles Gaskin, currently the running back 2 on the week.
Wow,
I just traded him to you.
You just, that's just something.
I'm so upset.
According to week 5, you lost in this trade. Okay.
Yes.
The trade consists of Sterling Shepard, Myles Gaskin, and Dawson Knox. And I would
like to speak to Flores and figure out how the hell Gaskin gets 2 attempts last week. And then now he's the workhorse.
Would they play last week again?
They played the Colts, I believe.
Right. It's
how do you give him 2 attempts? It doesn't matter who it is.
Tampa.
He's the best player on their offense, maybe outside of Jalen Waddle.
I mean, it's true. I think it's definitely game script, but it wasn't successful last week. This week he was successful. I mean, 30 plus points.
How could you say it's not successful last week when they only gave him 2 opportunities? No. That's my point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I get what you're saying.
It's frustrating, but do you start Myles Gaskin going forward though?
In a desperation, maybe in a bye week. Bye week starts next week. Maybe you might have to. I'm in a situation where if Dalvin doesn't play, I think Dalvin is also on a bye week. I have to start Myles.
Yeah.
So who does he play next week? Let's double check.
The upside's great through the air. You just have to hope he gets that. If it's a week where he doesn't get that, take away the receptions, he would have had 2.5 points. You know what I mean?
Jacksonville.
Yeah. You got to start him.
You have to start him next week. The King himself, running back 3. I mean, it's just
a surprise.
It's just typical. 29 carries, 130 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Come on. Next.
I don't think any of this top 10 surprises us outside of Myles Gaskin, if we're honest with you.
Yeah.
Kamara, I want to quickly highlight. I watched the game. He was heavily utilized in the passing game. You should feel very hopeful for Alvin Kamara moving forward if you drafted him. Madison, probably the second best handcuff in fantasy outside of Tony Pollard. He was great. But let's talk about players that potentially disappointed you, maybe cost you your week. Does anyone in particular come to mind for you, Badaki?
At the moment, I don't necessarily. I mean, obviously Miles, but that I think we've already spoke about that. Saquon, it doesn't necessarily concern me because I feel like we understand the timeline so far with the information we have. But if there's something else that comes out, I'll definitely be concerned.
How about we talk about Trey Sermon? I saw a lot of trades go through in different leagues for Trey Sermon. Everyone thought, oh, yeah, well, Trey's probably the guy now, right? Nope. It was the trend we saw weeks 1 to 2 where Trey Sermon was completely irrelevant. Yep. He had 1 carry. Elijah Mitchell was the guy. And honestly, Mitchell's speed is what sets him apart. If you watch that game, Mitchell's speed, he didn't even have a fantastic game, but his speed is what makes him the starter in this team. He's the better fit in their scheme. Excuse me.
Yeah, Elijah Mitchell did look did look good. So we just got to wait and see how his role progresses throughout the season. But, I mean, for the running back position, I think everyone did somewhat decent.
Well,
at least from the minimum 10
I'll talk
points.
about Clyde. It's only halftime. It's only halftime. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire right now at half has 1.6 fantasy points.
I think
if he finishes with under 10, it's a disappointment in my opinion.
I agree. Chase Edmonds is also was a disappointment with only 4 points.
Agreed.
I think that kind of went away with them. Melvin obviously, but I think he was a sit where he was playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, so we didn't think that was a good start either.
Oh boy, I want to tell people though, Javonte Williams, now's the time to trade for your boy Javonte. It's going to happen very soon.
Yeah, it's coming to that point. I see it.
He looked good. Kenneth Gainwell, underwhelming performance.
Yeah, Kenneth Gainwell.
Unfortunately, but hopefully you weren't in a position where you had to start him. The whole Joe Mixon situation was crazy because before the game, he was like, yeah, he's playing. What's the role? No, I have no idea. Well, okay, I guess I'm going to try and start him. I started him. Thank God he got that touchdown. Otherwise, it would have been a really, really sad week. All right, let's move on to the wide receiver position. Number 1 wide receiver, same team? No, close.
No, close. Very, very close.
Mike Williams, wide receiver 2 on the week.
Actually, it is close. I was thinking of the yardage. I was like, it's not close whatsoever. But
no, wide receiver 2 on the week because he got that extra tutty.
Yeah.
But Devontae Adams, number 1 on the week. No surprise.
It's absolutely fantastic. 16 targets, 11 receptions, 206 yards. That's absolutely fantastic, and a touchdown.
At some point, how do you not just triple team him? I watched that game in full. He wasn't looking at anyone else. It was always Devontae Adams.
Him. It was always he's putting the ball where only he can get it though. Truly.
Yeah.
Like there's no way like you can actually defend what he's doing sometimes. But a fantastic game for Devontae Adams and Mike Williams. I think
Definitely.
The boom or bust wide receiver 3 Antonio Brown lands at once again wide receiver 3, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's just classic for Antonio Brown to have these weeks, and last week he wasn't there.
Hopefully you didn't sit Mike Williams.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of people.
By the way,
a lot of people were skeptical, traded him away, or they didn't know what they were going to do because they was like, oh well, they're playing the Browns. The Browns are pretty good defense. Blah blah blah. So it's interesting.
I mean, 16 targets from Mike Williams. It's legit, man. I'm telling you, this breakout is legit. I know we talked about a trade last week on a live stream where in a dynasty league someone gave a first because they're a win now team for Mike Williams.
Yeah,
I still think that trade it's up in the air, but
yeah, we'll definitely.
If you're a win now, it's looking good.
We'll see at the end of the season.
Totally.
So
AB boom or bust. This is you're always going to have boom or bust performances, but probably the guy we would like to talk about more than anything is someone on your team, Kadarius Toney. Has a background in boxing, and we saw that today.
Yeah, he's a great fighter. Great fighter. I mean, he did better than that fight that was on last night or 2 nights ago. I didn't even watch that, by the way.
No, neither.
No, Kadarius Toney, 13 targets, 189 yards. He's getting the work. Obviously, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, it was out. Kenny G was out. Saquon Barkley was out. But even with Kenny G in and Saquon in last week, he still got targeted. It's the only question mark. I think we were already talking about this. What does his role look like when Sterling is in?
Totally.
So
that's the only question mark. But at this point, you would have to think he's done enough. He's shown enough to say that for the Giants to say, like, how do we not utilize him?
He is absolutely explosive. He helps a team out. He gets.
It makes no sense not to use him.
100%. So just to give you some peace of mind, if Kadarius Toney is on your waiver wires, Sterling,
he will be probably the number 1. Maybe wire. Number 1, number 2, number 3. 100%. Like very, very high.
100%. I think Darius Slayton is going to be faded out, and there's going to be Sterling, Kadarius Toney, and Kenny G once they're all healthy. So,
agreed.
Look out for that.
There were no other real surprises of the week. No. I don't think so. Let me know if I'm missing someone, but there were some pretty shocking performances. If we're ready to move on.
Yeah, shocking performances. Yeah, absolutely. I think a guy that
First one that comes to mind is just a guy that. Sorry, just to jump in because we told people to start him. Marvin Jones.
Yes.
Was the start of the week. 5 targets, only 1 catch for 25 yards. I don't know I honestly don't know what happened. I don't know what to say.
They just didn't. It felt like they weren't getting targeted. You know,
5 targets isn't great, but is this offense just being ran through James Robinson now? Is that what the plan is? It's like at first it was like, we're not going to use James Robinson. And now it's like, we're not going to do anything but use James Robinson, which I'm happy with because I have Robinson in leagues. But where's this offense is never like a complete offense. It's never. It's quite confusing going forward.
And I think going forward, the first thing, I think I said this to you, like I think while we were watching the game, and it was like, I think I just want to avoid everyone on this team now.
Yeah.
Marvin Jones, 1 week or the first 3 weeks was getting the targets. Now, 5 targets, like he was non-existent against a team that gives up so many points to wide receivers. What's happening? Laviska Shenault not getting targeted into the fourth quarter. Literally midway through the fourth quarter. It was ridiculous.
I'll be honest. I think I'm going to try and buy him low. I think this is a perfect time to buy him low because I don't think it's going to cost you much at all. Like genuinely, I think you're going to get him super cheap. Robbie Anderson, massive letdown. Unfortunately, you just cannot trust him. Jalen Waddle, massive letdown. Unfortunately, you cannot trust him. Tyler Boyd, letdown. Darnell Mooney, letdown. A.J. Brown, do I need to say it? Let down. Allen Robinson.
Brandon Ayuk.
People are going to ask, do you even roster Allen Robinson anymore? What is the answer to that question?
I don't want to say you shouldn't. It sounds wrong. It shouldn't be a sentence. The sentence.
Is it name value? Is it name value?
Is it
like you don't drop A-Rob? Hey,
you cannot drop him. Like we know.
But you should.
We know what he can do though. Okay, so who are you dropping?
I'll be honest though. I know exactly what you're saying because I'm not dropping him if I have him. But I think we should. But I'm not gonna tell you to do that, and I wouldn't do that if I.
Let me just so people that are out there listening or watching, A-Rob is on your team. Kadarius Toney is on the waiver wires. The only person you can drop is A-Rob. Are you doing that?
Yeah, I would do it,
bro. I think
I would do it.
What about an Emmanuel Sanders? A-Rob's on Emmanuel Sanders. A Hunter Renfrow. I mean, I'll definitely do a Hunter Renfrow.
I don't know with those guys.
I mean, a Rondell Moore.
I just hope you're not in that situation if you're listening to this.
That's hard.
We'll drop the waiver video soon tomorrow. Who else was a disappointment? Corey Davis, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore. These are all guys that, I mean, DJ Moore has been an absolute superstar. I definitely think he falls into the disappointment category. Do you agree?
I do agree, and he didn't have the best game. They were really covering him once again. I was watching that game. Only 7 targets, 5 receptions for 7 targets. So it was a bit disappointing.
The work was still there.
Yeah, it definitely was still there. They were definitely trying to force feed him when you watch that game. It just didn't happen.
If you own DJ Moore, you want CMC back as soon as possible. I'm just being honest. And he opens up so much for the offense and Sam Darnold. Another thing
that I want to say is that it's also clear that Robbie, with or without CMC, is completely irrelevant.
I agree that you can't start him.
Can you drop him?
Here's my issue. I'm not dropping him. No. I'm not dropping him. Not yet. I know that sounds crazy.
You feel more confident.
How many targets did DJ Moore get this week?
7.
How many targets did Robbie Anderson get this week?
Oh, let me look for Robbie.
I believe it was 7.
Was it 7? I don't have Robbie in front of me.
It was 7 targets. Okay. So the point I'm trying to make is the targets are there. 11 targets last week, 7 targets this week. It hasn't worked out. To be fair, did any Carolina Panther look good today? No. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't think that you can give up on him just yet.
Okay. I hear you.
But I am definitely open to dropping him if Tony is the option, for example. Do you know what I mean?
What if, okay, let's say A-Rob or Robbie?
I would keep A-Rob, over Robbie for
Over
sure.
Robbie?
I mean, it
Okay.
makes more sense, but I still think that you should keep Robbie.
Okay.
Stash him. Just wait. We're only 5 weeks in.
Okay.
All right, tight ends.
Oh, this is
Can you believe that David Njoku is the number 1 tight end on the week?
The talent.
When he was drafted, this is what we thought David Njoku could be.
The talent was there. It's always been there. Watch David Njoku's highlights.
Oh my
exactly God. What we've been waiting for the past 3.5, 4 years. Please.
Yeah. I mean, we've been waiting for David Njoku to have this opportunity, and my God, 7 catches, 149 yards, and a touchdown.
He broke out for a long one.
An absolute shootout with the Los Angeles Chargers. Do you go pick up David Njoku? I don't think so, but
No,
I could be wrong.
I don't think so. If you're somebody that has a George Kittle and there's nobody else on the bench, and maybe you want to take a long Hail Mary shot, why not? But I'm not picking him up. I don't think he's going to even be on the waiver wire list.
No, I don't think so either. The issue is they paid a bunch of money to Austin Hooper. David Njoku's never had a game like this. And I think this is his best game as a Brown. I hope he goes somewhere else in free agency.
Imagine being drafted in the first round. Mm-hmm. 3 years later saying, you know what, we're going to pay a guy that had a breakout year.
It never made sense to me.
Had a breakout year in Atlanta for 1 year. Give him a 3-year. I don't know how much.
Never made sense to me, dude.
It was crazy.
I wish David Njoku. I wish he could come to Washington. Like, I feel like he could be an impact player anywhere. But
I remember I said it as well. When he requested a trade, I was like, please, Giants, get rid of Evan Ingram. Yeah. Get David Njoku. Do
the
something.
Talent's crazy.
Yeah. Your guy. Talk him up.
I'm so excited that I predicted this and it finally happened. I sent a chat. So we have a chat with some of our friends in a different league. And I sent a text before the game. And I said, Kyle Pitts today, 10 receptions, 120 yards and a touchdown. What was his final stat line?
9 receptions, 119 yards and a touchdown. It was close.
So close.
So close.
I felt pretty good about that. I mean, I have been telling everyone, don't freak out on Kyle. Don't freak out on Kyle. He was my trade for this week. I tried to trade for him in so many leagues, and no one wanted. I was including Darren Waller in trades. Like, I was upgrading somewhere else. But
let me ask you a question, because I think this is what a lot of people are going to say.
Okay.
He played the Jets.
Yes, he did. I know Ridley was out. But what a lot of people are probably failing to see is he got 10 targets this game. He's in almost every game, he's getting at least 8 targets anyway. So people are failing to see that it just hasn't come together yet. Right. Calvin Ridley on the field helps Kyle Pitts. I genuinely believe that. The defense has to focus on more people. And now that Cordero Patterson is becoming more of a thing, defenses have to focus on him as well. So
Okay.
I believe in Kyle Pitts going forward. I 100% want him on my team. There's a bye week. You can't buy him low anymore. I hope you traded for him, like I said on this week's podcast. I hope you had that chance to do that.
I think just to play devil's advocate, because I do believe in the talent, and I do believe like where you're going and how you're seeing it, because I see the targets going up. Like we always say, we see consistency in the targets, but we need to see consistency in the fantasy points. He had one good breakout game against the Jets, which is fair, without Calvin Ridley. Can he do this? Produce these numbers with Calvin Ridley on the field against they play Miami, Carolina. Like, for example, Carolina will be a great team. I would love to see him with Calvin on the field.
Yeah, I mean, look, can do it. Is Kyle Pitts going to score 27 points in fantasy every week? No. Of course he's not going to score 27 points in fantasy each week. But I think you should expect a stat line, 8 targets, 6 catches, 60 to 80 yards, and a touchdown sometimes. That is tied in, like, top 5 tied in going forward,
Yeah, well, I mean,
and by the way, week 1, 8 targets, 4 catches. Week 2, 6 targets, 5 catches for 73 yards. So, like, it's not as if he's been god awful, like droppable, like Robert Tunyon. It's just, it's not all come together. He's a rookie tight end. I'm telling you.
Okay.
It's on. It's on. We're on. And it's too late to trade for him, unfortunately.
We'll definitely see what happens. Tight end 3, Hunter Henry. I think it's pretty obvious. I think in not obvious, but in the tight end position, it's always up and down. It fluctuates week in, week out.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry.
Are you picking up Hunter maybe? I don't know. Are you? Because that's a good question.
Hunter Henry has been consistent and has gotten the targets these past 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. 8 targets this week, 5 targets last week. He found the end zone in both the
last 2 games. Yeah.
So it's interesting. Jonnu Smith was available in a lot of leagues. I picked him up, and Hunter Henry was also available, and I picked up Jonnu Smith over Hunter Henry. So maybe
that's the hard thing about this.
Mm-hmm.
Who is it going to be each week?
Maybe have both if you got the room.
No.
Are you dropping A-Rob for Hunter Henry?
No, absolutely not. See, we're going too far. Dawson Knox. It's only halftime, but he's already the tight end 4 on 2
Talk it up,
catches.
baby. Woo.
I love it. I mean, Dawson Knox is a must start going forward. So is Dalton Schultz.
Yes. I like Dalton Schultz.
Outside of those guys, it was a really hit or miss.
Yeah.
Let's quickly talk about Darren Waller.
Yeah.
Disappointing.
8
You
points,
keep starting him.
letdown.
Keep starting him.
Mm-hmm.
You don't trade him a low. You absolutely don't trade him low. You keep starting him. Travis Kelce so far has been a disappointment. He'll probably have a better second half. Noah Fant, disappointment. You keep starting him going forward. How about Dallas Goedert?
I still like Goddard. I think it was a good matchup. You start him next week, in my personal opinion. Yeah. Against Tampa Bay, who's give up a lot of points.
2 for 28 on only 3 targets. That is concerning.
At all. It was terrible. Once again, I watched that game. Another guy that was a major letdown, TJ Hawkinson, is only 2 targets. What is going on with TJ? I think that's the second straight game. Well, 3
honestly,
games.
It's the only thing defenses have to worry about in the passing game.
Well, Swifty and Jamal play in the look.
I mean, outside of the running backs.
If you really look at these,
if you shut down TJ, you're fine.
If you look at Khalif Raymond and Amon-Ra St. Brown, they're getting targets. They're getting looks. No, they're not big threats. They're not big threats. So I think that's why.
But here's the conversation in the locker room all week, or in the meetings with the teams, right? All week, game plan wise. Stop TJ Hawkinson and we'll win this game.
Yeah.
Like everyone else can do something. Stop TJ Hawkinson. We'll win this game. So
it definitely makes sense.
All right, so let's take the next 5 minutes. Again, if you're listening to this podcast, we're live right now on YouTube. And let's take the next 5 minutes before the second half starts and we're going to answer 5 questions. That's it. We're going to be real quick.
Okay.
First one is, does Gaskin have his rollback? Should I pick him up? Quickly on that, what do you think?
I truly do believe I don't know if he has his rollback, but I do believe you should pick him up. If you're in a situation where your running backs are hurt, like a Damian Harris is hurt, or let's say you couldn't get a Damian Williams and you had Monty, pick up Myles Gaskin, see what happens, and plug him into your lineup. You may not get the best, but you could get a boom day just like today.
Yeah. Hey, drop any questions you have if you're watching this, because we're going to take the last 2 minutes right here. The second half of this Chiefs game is about to start. If you have a question, Noah has a question here. He says, y'all worried about DK with the bad quarterback situation? Oddly enough, DK was better for fantasy when Russ went out. I'm not saying that's going to continue. That's crazy to say that Geno's a better quarterback for Russ, but I'm not worried about DK. I own DK in many leagues.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Tyler Lockett, though.
Sorry. Yes, I am worried about Tyler Lockett. I think when you watch that game, if you're worried before you make any rash decisions, go watch when Geno comes in. He was looking at DK the whole time. He targeted DK. He threw DK, I think, a 30-yard touchdown pass. I mean, and he continued to target him. And that's when the target started to come in for DK. And then Tyler Lockett, obviously you saw it was starting to decrease. So I think, I don't know, see what you can get for Tyler Lockett, but it's going to be hard. Russ is not coming back. It's going to
be hard to sell him now without Russ. People are going to be worried. I think it's going to be hard
to sell DK as well, but you have something to sell. You say, hey.
I don't think you sell DK. You have to hold. I mean, Russ could be back in 4 weeks. DK is going to be fine. He's going to be hyper targeted by Geno. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Jai, what's up? He says, are you worried about Keenan Allen rest of season because of Mike Williams in full PPR? No.
No.
I'm not worried about Keenan Allen. I still want Keenan Allen on my team. And Keenan Allen is still like top 5 in targets, guys. So he's going to be just fine.
He's definitely...
The touchdowns haven't come his way as of right now. But keep in mind, teams change their game plan as they learn more about other teams, right? So, no, I'm not worried about Keenan. He's absolutely still someone I want. I still consider him a top 12 option each week. Last question we'll answer here is from Javian. He said, do I trade DeAndre Hopkins?
This is something that you've been talking about a lot. This is something that, you know, you kind of put this thought in my head. It's like, it's actually not a bad idea. I don't know if you want to express that.
Yeah, I think so. Someone sent me a trade. This is before the week began, before Russell Wilson was injured. And the trade was DeAndre Hopkins because I had Hopkins, DK Metcalf, and Rondale Moore. And obviously, I didn't know that Russ was going to get injured. But for me, that was a smash accept. And I don't think a lot of people would have seen it that way.
Right.
I love DeAndre Hopkins. I think he's probably the second or third best wide receiver in the league talent-wise. The offense that he's in right now, unfortunately, doesn't require him to get hyper-targeted, right?
Right.
You got Rondale Moore, Christian Kirk, AJ Green, Chase Edmonds is getting work. So the Cardinals don't need DeAndre Hopkins to have an amazing game to win.
Yeah.
They don't need that.
Yeah.
He will have some amazing games, but they don't need him to. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking to trade D-Hop. 100% I'm looking to trade him. You know, you think about like the difference between D-Hop and Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams has to go off for the Packers to be great. D-Hop doesn't even have to play and the Cardinals will win. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's the concerning part. You want your player to be wanted and
like relied on, you know?
Yeah, so I think that I completely agree. I don't have any D-Hop coming in to this year. I've always been skeptical of DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray just purely because I think Kyler Murray uses his legs too much more. Sorry. He uses his legs too much that I would actually like. Once again, not enough sleep.
You're good. Well, let me just quickly to close the show here. I'll tell you some wide receivers I would prefer over D-Hop because I'm sure that's the next question that people might have if they're listening to this later. So I would prefer Justin Jefferson. I would still prefer DJ Moore. Cooper Kupp.
I just don't think. Yeah, 100%. All these names.
Stephon Diggs. Terry McLaurin. DK Metcalf. Still, those are names that I would prefer over DeAndre Hopkins. What about outside of that? I'm still keeping D-Hop.
Okay. Wow. So like I'm still going. You know, I would rather have a Deontay. A Calvin.
Deontay Johnson? No way.
Yeah. That's
we're
where
going too far now.
I know he's getting hyper targeted. He's being utilized. He's needed. Like that's what I'm saying.
Do you want to be connected to Big Ben or do you want to be connected to Kyler Murray?
I mean, I want to be connected to somebody that's getting a lot of targets.
Okay. Well, we see a lot of things differently. That's one we're going to see differently. What was the other one that you said?
I said Deontay, I said Keenan, I said Calvin Ridley.
Okay.
Mike Evans.
I can see the Calvin Ridley one. If you have Calvin Ridley, you drafted him probably ahead of D-Hop. So you're probably frustrated at yourself for doing that, unfortunately. But Ridley's going to be better. Anyway, I hope that really helps. We will be dropping our trade for and trade away podcast and YouTube video this week.
That's right.
So yeah, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast. Anything you want to say to close the show? Badaki, the second half is on.
Second half is on. Keep giving it to Dawson Knox. If you're watching this or listening to this, it already finished. So we'll see what happens. But all love. Thank you so much for the support. And I'm excited. Good. Yeah. You know, good luck on waiver wires week, I guess. Good luck on your trades.
Yeah, we'll drop a waiver video tomorrow on YouTube, youtube.com/fantasylandfootball. But until then, good luck. Hopefully, whatever you need to happen on Monday Night Football happens, and you get that dub. All right, we'll see you on the next podcast where we break down our trade targets of the week. See you there.
See you there.